And we're back, and I'm speaking with Paul Bettner from Playful. I'm going to have him actually introduce himself, kind of give a little spiel about who he is and what he does. We're going to be talking about Creativerse. So, Paul, go ahead and tell everybody, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my name is Paul Bettner. I'm the founder and CEO at Playful. Been doing this now for quite a while. Been making games for, oh my gosh, 20 years, maybe more than that. Playful's been around now for, I think we're going on our fifth year now. And we're working on a couple different things.
So, most recently, though, the thing you've been working on is Creativerse.
That's
Why don't you
right.
actually kind of give us a little rundown of what that is and what it's been like, kind of getting that ready and pushed out to everybody?
So Creativerse is our take on this kind of delightful sandbox genre that I've really been in love with now for several years. And we started working on this game now for, oh gosh, it's been several years that we've been working on this actually. Worked on it for quite a while, just on our own, and then we launched it in Steam Early Access. This is actually the first game that I've ever launched on Steam personally. Before this, most of the team that's working on Creativerse actually was the team that did Words with Friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we had our kind of previously, this team, myself and a lot of folks here had been working on AAA PC games. We did kind of Age of Empires, a lot of the folks here from Ensemble Studios. And then we did the mobile thing for a while and created the With Friends franchise, sold that to Zynga. And now here at Playful, we are working on a couple of different things. And we started on this project. It was one of the first things we ever worked on here. Worked on it for a couple of years, launched it into early access, and now we are finally launching it out of early access today.
So, what does that mean to have the game in early access and now it's changed and is available as a full game? It's still free to play. So what's different for people when they play? Like, what's
Yes.
different for you, I guess?
So, it's actually been an important thing for us to communicate as we've done this because I think it means different things for different games. I've been part of a lot of early access titles on Steam, and they all kind of handle it a little bit differently. For us, this is actually our 42nd release of the game, R42. It's been live in early access now for a couple of years. As we've continued to refine and grow it. And so, we've wanted to communicate pretty clearly to our community that this is just another step along that path for us. But it was, we really just getting to a point, the game has been growing and, we've really gotten to a point where we're finally figuring out what it is, what the real heart of this game is and what we want it to become. And even though it's not there yet, like we still have so many hopes and dreams for where we're going to take the game. It's just at the beginning of that journey now. And that was enough for us to say, let's throw the doors wider open and let's invite a larger audience into this because the audience that we have, the early access audience we have, they're loving the game. It's got great review scores. It's got a lot of players that are playing it daily. It was really just time for us to kind of widen that funnel.
So, as you
And
bring in more, oh, go ahead. I'm
sorry, I
sorry.
was going to say to your question of what actually is new. There's a couple of features we've launched specifically today. Some of the most highly requested features, especially for builders in the game. So that's like we have these really cool things that you can do. Obviously, if you go look at the game, it's a block building voxel type of adventure game. But we have some awesome things you can do in Creativerse that you can't do in some of the other games in the genre. So, you can actually just grab a block and rotate it around. So if you have a stair or a slab or one of these other different shaped blocks, you can rotate that. Well, one of the things that players have been asking for incessantly, and shouldn't have been a hard problem, but it took us a little work, was these corner blocks so that when you're creating like roofs and stairs and other shapes, you actually have a way to connect two corners of it. And so that's something that we put effort into for this release. But the real thing is that kind of got us to this point is actually something we shipped a couple of releases ago. And the reason that we did it this way is because we wanted to get it out there and start iterating and improving this feature. We didn't want to necessarily couple that with when we were coming out of early access because that would be a little stressful. And that feature is this published adventures feature that we have in the game that we launched now. I think it was in R38 or something like that. And this is kind of what I mentioned earlier about Creativerse finally knowing what it wants to be when it grows up. This is the feature that has gotten us onto that path. And it's fundamentally this thing that, like I said, I've been playing in games in this genre now for quite a while. And what I end up doing a lot, as I think we all do, is we might play with a couple friends. We end up building really cool stuff, but then that stuff just kind of gets left behind, and we might move on to other adventures that we're doing. And one of the things that's always just kind of lacking in that is this ability to take that incredible thing that we've created and fill it with life, invite other people to check it out, create adventures in that thing. It's like the typical example is I might create some really cool castle on a hillside, and it doesn't really serve any purpose other than to take really neat screenshots of it and share it on Twitter and be like, look at this cool castle I made. That's really neat. And we just wanted to take that to the next logical step and create a tool set and a technology, a platform that let people take that castle and turn it into something that other people could enjoy rather than just looking at a screenshot. And that's what this Published Adventures feature does.
So would you say that's one of the main ways that earlier you mentioned, like, this is your take on this genre? Would you say this is one of the main ways that you are separating yourself from the fold there?
Absolutely. And I don't lots of people want to say, "Oh, this game is this meets this." And you can certainly do that with what Creativerse is and is going to become or is becoming right now. But yeah, I think it's one of the most important things we've done in the game, and I think it's certainly going to define what the future is for Creativerse, is this ability for somebody to get together with their friends, make something, and then seamlessly publish that to a community of people that can enjoy that. And it's pretty incredible, the things that people have already created, even though our tool set there is still just getting started. I mean, we want to create the most powerful tool set for people to create these incredible adventures for each other. But even with the tools they have now, they're already so actively engaged in this part of the game. And it's like when we saw that happening after we shipped the feature, it was really validating for us to say, okay, well, that was our theory. Our theory was that this would be like when you play these games, and we'll use the elephant in the room, Minecraft, there's this question of, well, what's the end game here? Like, once I've run out of all the content that Mojang or Microsoft has provided, then what do I go do? And in the case of Minecraft, there's this incredible, community of mods and mod creators and all these other things. And we wanted to take that and, like I said, just extend it further and not just have it be in the hands of only mod creators, but really put that in the hands of the entire community. And so right now, just a dad and his kid playing together can create that incredible castle. And with one click, they can publish that thing to the community and say, here, come check out the throne room, go on this little adventure into our little dungeon that we created, whatever it is, and create this content that can be shared, liked, and eventually monetized by that whole community.
So I guess first let's talk about that monetization.
Yeah.
You said, so eventually, is that something that you guys, is that like your main business model here, to create a user-connected economy where players are creating and selling things to one another?
That is the thing that we are most excited about now, yeah. I mean, when you can see this happening now in a couple of different games, and probably the most successful or the most interesting from my standpoint is what's happening with Roblox. And I just think it's a tremendous thing, because that game has created this marketplace, this economy where it's directly connected content creators to these larger audiences, and then allowed that to evolve on its own and provided increasingly better tools and support. But the real magic there is the simplicity of being able to have an idea, or even take somebody else's idea or a template of an idea, like, oh, it's a racing game or whatever, but I'm going to make it a racing game where I'm racing ice cream cones around or whatever. And that may happen to be the thing that the whole community is really excited about right now. And the process of building that thing and publishing that thing being seamless is one step. But the second step is when people can actually monetize that, when we can create a marketplace there. I think it just kind of reaches this whole other level of compelling for the community. And so, yes, that's definitely what we're excited. One of the places we're excited to go in the future.
So this whole conversation is making me think about the way people explore new ideas in games. I think for a long time there was always this. It was always thought it was a bad thing when you make a blank clone, like a Doom clone. Now we have Darksiders clones starting to come out.
Yes.
And Minecraft clones, but those things always end up becoming their own genres that are no longer named that thing. Like we don't call first-person shooters Doom clones anymore.
That's right.
Is this something that you guys actively think about, where you're like, there is still, it's not just gold in them hills. There are ideas to be sought out here that maybe some games aren't exactly exploring?
That's exactly it. And in fact, if you go back to the genesis of this project, of us starting work on this game, and the thing that inspired us then and inspires us even more now, because it's crazy to be, I mean, we've been on this journey. This game has been in development now for several years. And we're at a place where we're more excited about the future of the game now than we ever have been. But it's based on the same concept. So when we started this game, what was one of the things that was in my head is I could remember back to when EverQuest 1 first came out. And I'm sure lots of folks that are listening can probably remember that. I was working at Ensemble Studios at the time. We were working on the Age of Empires games, and we would work on Age of Empires during the day just so that we could get to the evening to play EverQuest all together. And we were doing that for several months, and we were all super addicted to it. And this was kind of at the, it was getting to the height of EverQuest popularity. I think they maybe had 400,000 subscribers or something. And I started running around the office saying, we got to make one of these games. We got to make a game like this. And I got a lot of resistance, actually, because what I was trying to pitch was, we just need to make a better version of this game. We need to take everything that Ensemble Studios was especially good at as a developer, which was accessibility, broadly appealing, bright, colorful art, lush worlds, great user experience, controls, all that kind of stuff. That we were doing pretty good at that stuff. And then couple it with this genre, which was barely even a genre at that point. It was really just one dominant game that was, this 3D MMO thing. And a lot of the pushback at the time was, well, first of all, EverQuest is at the peak of this market, like 400,000 subscribers. That's incredible. You could never get more subscribers than that in an MMO, a 3D MMO. Another thing I heard a lot at the time was, well, if we were going to do that, we would have to take and mix it with something. So it'd have to be EverQuest mixed with an RTS, or EverQuest in space, or just something else. And honestly, the case I was making at the time was, we just need to make a better EverQuest. And I don't mean clone it. I mean stand on the shoulders of what's great about this, because all great art is that way, And we can take what we love about this genre and not look at this as one game, but look at it as the birth of a genre and take it forward. Well, I didn't win that debate, and we never got to work on that at Ensemble. But I think someone at Blizzard was having the same conversation at that time. And the rest is history. World of Warcraft went on to, I don't know what their peak subscribers, like 14 or 15 million or something like that, and showed the world that actually people did just want a better EverQuest. The core formula of World of Warcraft is the same as EverQuest, but they took a lot of those things that, of course, Blizzard is so brilliant at in terms of quality, accessibility, user experience, and they married it to this successful formula, and they came up with this brilliant game that, dominated for many, many years. When we started on Creativerse, it was a lot of the same feeling. I was playing games in this genre and feeling like, there's just an opportunity here to take the next step and to not view games like Minecraft as well, there's one Minecraft, there'll only ever be one Minecraft, that's it. It's this one game, this one hit, and it's over. But rather, like you said at the beginning of this question, to be the birth of a genre, that eventually we would actually have a label for this genre, which we don't really have a good one right now, and everybody just uses Minecraft. It's all just Minecraft. But what we've seen already with the development of Creativerse and with our voraciously hungry for more early access community is that there's a tremendous appetite for games of this genre. People love this core formula. And as an aside, what I want to say about that part of it, the core formula of this game, is because I think it's important to identify, especially if we're talking about a genre. What sets this genre apart from others? What makes it deserve to be a genre? And in my mind, it's one thing. Like there's elements of Minecraft that you could say are like Grand Theft Auto, or like survival games, open world survival games like Ark and Rust. And that is one element. But in my mind, that's not the defining characteristic of Minecraft and the Minecraft genre. To me, what it is that when I play a game like Grand Theft Auto, I generally solve my problems by shooting things, right? By putting my crosshairs on something and pulling the trigger, or by crafting things that help me survive. But I think that the unique thing, the thing that sets the Minecraft truly apart and sets Creativerse apart, is that I solve my problems by being creative, by coming up with creative solutions to the things that the game is throwing at me. And that is what the genre is about. And that's fundamentally why the game ended up being called Creativerse.
Well, that's excellent. Paul, I think that's going to wrap up our time, but I want to give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find Creativerse, if they're interested, where they can go to check it out and find out more.
Creativerse just went live on Steam today, so get on Steam, search for Creativerse. In fact, you'll see it. It's all over the Steam storefront right now. But check it out. Join our vibrant community. We have thousands and thousands of people playing. We have tons of adventures you can already check out. And I greatly encourage you to become a part of that community. You'll be welcomed by us and by our community with open arms. And you can really be a part. And this is the other thing that for us has set Creativerse apart is I've never had this connection with a community of a game that I've created. And I think Steam is hugely to credit for that. Steam is such an incredible platform for us to have that connection with our community in real time. But I promise, and I think that our existing community already knows this, but for folks that are thinking about joining the game, you really have an opportunity to be an active part of the development of this game and to really help us shape Creativerse into what you want it to be. So I hope you'll join us.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. It was my pleasure.